Welcome to the Basketball Parents Journey podcast, where we capture parent stories about their journey so far and what has worked and not worked for them. Listen as parents share their wisdom across a wide spectrum of experience from beginners to college athletes and their recommendations for you as your player embarks on the next stage of their basketball journey from beginner to high school player and beyond. Hey, Patty.
Hey,
Welcome.
how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for
Good.
joining me.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
So I really don't know much about you or your player, but I was excited to have you on the podcast and kind of hear the background. So
Sure.
Kick us off with kind of, I guess, introduce yourself, kind of tell us about your player and get the story started here.
Well, I'm Patte Ardizzoni. I live in Hampton. 24 years already. Zander is, he graduated from Winnacunnet, and he did what I think most kids do. They jumped into, we have Hampton Youth Academy, Youth Association here, and he did, if it was fall, it was soccer, and if it was, whatever the season was, that's, I think, what all the kids do. And then they just kind of find one or hopefully many different interests that they're interested in. And I think Z is probably more like the majority of kids. We're lucky we live in a neighborhood in Hampton that is full of boys. We have the I don't know, BJ, if you were following I don't know if you were following the news or anything in the fall, but the Winnacunnet football team did very well this year. And Zander and there are triplets that live up the street, and the Fredericks kids and and Chris Capizzuto is across the street. So we've been very lucky with very athletic kids in the neighborhood. And they were always outside doing whatever. So I think what happened in this house probably is very much like what happens in a lot of houses where the kids love sports.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that you were in Hampton, so that's great. We rented space at the Rim for many years.
Oh yeah.
There before we moved up to our new spot in Portsmouth. So.
Yeah. The joke around here is that all of us should be part owners of the Rim and of the the soccer facility, because that's you just kept putting the kids there, and if it was just a whatever day, send them to the Rim. Look at the open courts on the website and send them to the Rim.
Right.
And congratulations on the new shop was it Corey? Am I remembering his name?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, Corey Hassan built out the place. I tell everybody, I wouldn't have the vision walking into an empty warehouse to build it out to the gym like he did. It's pretty cool. Definitely become our favorite spot.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah. So I'd like to start with my favorite question, really, for parents first, is like, what background did you have with basketball, if any, before Zander got into it?
Zero. I mean, I loved it. I loved the game. I played it in, just in gym class. I was a dancer, so I didn't play it, but I will cop to saying that I would watch Zander, and I have an older daughter. I would go and sneak in and watch practices. There's nothing more beautiful than to see kids playing a sport. It's just, for me, it's just absolutely wonderful. So I didn't have much except an appreciation for the game and an excitement that he liked it, and that it seemed to make him very, very happy and confident.
Cool. That's great. Yeah. So that kind of leads into the next question, is kind of, tell us his story up to date. He started with kind of the Hampton Youth Association. I assume he started playing basketball there and had a lot of neighborhood kids. So I guess, fill us up to where he's at now and what he's up to.
Well, I think I did a lot of trying. Once he really showed some depth, especially defensively in basketball. And he's a very tall kid. He didn't start out that way, but he and again, I don't know anything, but I'm told the wingspan, all of that nomenclature. All of that.
Yeah.
When he really showed an interest in, and I started looking for other places, because HYA ends, right? So it can do something else. But having a girl first, she did not play basketball except for HYA. It was really difficult for me because there's not one place that you can call and say, here's my story. And you can't magically snap your fingers and have somebody have seen him or understand him as a personality. So it was just a lot of trial and error trying to find basketball opportunities for him off season. And, some were great and some were epic failures, but, and then we, entered into, and he was still playing. He was a great soccer player too. And you're always balancing, is it helping him? Is all of this really feeding into his athleticism? And is he enjoying it?
Sure.
But the basketball piece was tough. If I could go back and redo, I would ask earlier, and I just didn't know what to ask at the time. And I know I wasn't alone. I just didn't know I didn't know what was available. I didn't know, that there were travel teams at all different levels. I was the rim. I mean, and so what was ever offered at the rim was what we went to. Never occurred to me that there was, people traveling to Massachusetts and would that be a good idea? I don't know that either, but
Sure.
So he plodded along and did his stuff and got into Winnicott, and it was, again, some good and some bad. If someone was to ask me for some advice for a parent, I would urge them to remember that the child has a personality of their own, and it doesn't always mean that they're going to jump into a team and gel soon or ever. I would really like to urge parents, if you feel like there's not a good fit with team leadership, whether it be at the school level or the club level, don't hesitate, because I think that I did that a little bit too much and put some onus on him, which I do believe. You talk to your coach, you talk to your teacher, you talk to your boss first. But if you do think that you have a legitimate gripe, that you see something happening that is impacting their confidence or their mental health, you have every right to expect to be heard and to have a conversation with whoever. So that would be my number one takeaway, and cross your fingers that they find that one role model, that one coach that really resonates with them and who seems to understand them. Zander is a very quiet kid, and unless you took the time to get to know him, you wouldn't necessarily think that he was open. But as a coach, as a teacher, as a parent, as whatever, kind of take a deep breath and try to get to know the kids there, even if it takes a little longer with some of them.
Sure. Yeah, I think that is, really good advice that you just gave for parents is, adjust to your kid's personality and what they need. I think there's definitely a dominant sport culture that says, finish what you started, whatever may come. And, kids get into, using a whole season or even a whole year with the same club or the same team, and it's just not working for them, whether that be, the group of peers they're with that, I've seen a lot of kids, like you've described with the HOA, like if they age with the same group of kids their whole life, like they never get out of the role they were in, fifth grade, because their peers kind of keep them in that box of who they were in fifth grade.
You're right.
You're right. You might join a team that looks great. You go to the tryout, and then, like you were just talking about, like if the coach is not a good fit, like he's not making any effort to understand your kid and try to help him along, it's like just a toxic environment that kids can fall into very quickly, I think, from a lot of different parameters. And so I'm constantly kind of pushing that approach where there's so much. I think parents more and more have the power to go shopping around to all the different programs and like go to 3-4 tryouts and just see what's out there and see what fits and meet a bunch of different coaches. And I encourage parents to kind of take the evaluators approach at tryouts. Like go observe a tryout, a practice, and see how's the coach operating and what's actually going on, and if that's going to be a good fit or not before you really commit. And then I guess outside the financial commitment, like if you pay for a program, like that money's gone, most likely you're not going to get a refund if you decide to switch. But I think there is a lot of value at a certain point. If it's really a toxic situation for your player, like just change programs. I really don't see any problem with that. I think there's definitely balance, but I think it's gone so far to the side of never quit that kids are getting stuck in a really tough situation and quitting the sport, I think, in a lot of ways because of that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. And it's a sticky wicket, isn't it? Because you don't want to nurture I'm paying for it, so I get to say what I want for my kid. There needs to be that middle ground. Yes, you're paying for it, but you also then, you're doing that of your free will, your own free will. And now you need to also, help your child understand that you are a part of a team, and it's a responsibility. But at the same time, please, if something is going south, be honest and say, this is happening and it doesn't make me feel good, or whatever that is. And then hear them, get back in there, buddy, and you talk to them, and sometimes that's great the first couple times, but if it's not getting better, then it's up to you, the parent or caregiver, whoever it is. But I think that it all comes down to, a parent or caregiver's role is really to introduce them to as much as they can. If in life, but in sports, introduce them, to as much as they can. With Zander, it wasn't a fantastic experience for him in high school, unfortunately, but he started to run track and came out of it and, made the states, and he decided not to go to American International, but the coach was courting him and really wanted him to run for them. So, life isn't always great, but keep them involved so that when some pieces of it are a little bit tougher, hopefully there will be other pieces that remind them that they are special and that they've got some skills. And even if it's just that they want to just continue to be active and that they're happy, that's great. It's just, it's always a gamble. You're always crossing everything you have and hoping that something is going to resonate with the little one, regardless of how old they are, and that they come out of it not having to look back over their shoulder and say, I wish I had, because that's really that's one of the saddest sentences that we could ever mutter to ourselves.
Sure. I think that's a great point. I think two things you said there. One, I'm always talking with parents about, the spectrum of experience is a good thing. Like, if you're in the same program and only have the same coach's voice, like your player is going to be limited in a lot of ways. Like I'm a big fan of like across multiple sports, across multiple programs, like the more experience they have, I think the better perspective they have, an ability to say like, yeah, this works for me. Like I tried XYZ over here and I know ABC works better, and I want to move
Right.
towards that. And
Right.
then the other thing you said, and I have kind of the tagline I've developed is that everybody's a recreational player eventually, and it's just a matter of when, right? And so
Right.
we should be working to make a lot of different things fun. Like I want to run as an adult, I want to play basketball recreationally as an adult. Some people might have a 20-year pro career before they play in the men's league in their
That's
50s.
funny.
And
I
some of
love
us,
that.
are going to start at age 13. If we don't want to play high school basketball, like we're going to play for fun in the
Yeah.
park, for the rest of our life. And so
Yeah.
I think that is a big important piece, because, if you're constantly pushing the player to the higher level competition, the higher stress and all that, and a lot of toxic team situations, then eventually they're going to not enjoy it to the point where they never want to play it again.
Right. And that would be so sad. That would be
I think
so
that's
sad.
a real shame. Like basketball is absolutely the best game in the world to me, and I want more people playing it, for a longer time.
Yep. No, I agree. One of the best stories that I can ever tell, and it was in soccer, but you will also understand this. Zander tried out in 6th grade and didn't make it, and he was just gutted, could not even believe it. 7th grade, tried out and made it. And at the the season ends awards or whatever you call it, the coach gave him the rookie of the rookie of the year award, and said that he said something like, this kid tried out last year, didn't make it, came back this year and proved me wrong. And I am man enough to say I was wrong. He is a fantastic player. And I just didn't see him last year. And I thought that is such a gift to that kid. That's just such a gift to be able to have a grown-up say, I made a mistake. I didn't see you. You were out there and I let you go. And thank God you came back.
Right. Oh, that's cool. That's a great story for sure.
Thanks.
So 2 questions I like to ask.
Sure.
The takeaways. You jumped to the advice to parents right away, which is great, because I think that kind of the third question I always want answered is, what advice do you have? So the 2 questions are, what has worked well and what has not worked? You can be as specific as you want, or keep it general. I don't want you to have to name names if you had negative experiences, but I think what parents coming behind you can really benefit from is what did you do, and how did you make it all work to get your player all the way through high school at a competitive level. So
I would say the thing that, and it might be the same answer, BJ, for both. Earlier I said that I didn't have a playbook. I didn't know where to go, and I didn't know what options were available. I just, once Zander got involved in, he played for, and I won't remember them all, but the Blue Devils out of Derry, Cap City, the Spartans, all of the normal kind of, clubs that are around here. And until we were playing in tournaments and traveling into Massachusetts, I didn't realize, and I was seeing the names on the jerseys, and then started doing some research. I didn't realize that those might have been options. So I, and again, I don't know if that would have been good or bad, yanking him around. I really don't. What did work for me ultimately was, like, when I read about Corey's shop opening, I immediately emailed him and said, it's, congratulations. It's kind of late in the day from my guy, but you've got some great stuff going there. And I would love to talk to you about, bolstering his confidence. And because we were, right in the middle of a tough time there. But I would say it's okay to not know what you don't know, and just keep your ears open, what's going on, and contact coaches. I did that with, I think the Trinity coach, No, I'm lying to you. He's now at Colby Sawyer. He subbed in for one of Zander's travel teams for one game, and he just got along with Zander famously. And during the summer session for the schools, I looked down and Zander was talking to somebody, and I said, "Who were you talking to?" And he said, "Oh, he helped coach at Cap City for that one time when the coach couldn't come." And so I could get in touch with him at Colby Sawyer, and he was so excited and was willing to work with Zander if he wanted to work with him. A great kid, and he was on his college recommendations. You just never know, and so just always get in touch, because a good coach will welcome that, whether or not they've had your kid or not. They will welcome your questions, and because they will want a good experience for the child, I think.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, and the not so good, I think I was not forceful enough in terms of saying to him, "Okay, you fought the good fight long enough. It's my turn, I think, to go one-on-one." And I'm proud of him. He refused to quit. He stuck it out, and felt embarrassed, and he thought that it was not earned, and he sat there, and I was really proud of him. So I wish that he wouldn't have had to go through that pain, but maybe at the end of the day, he proved to himself that he was a strong man, and now he's going to Merrimack College, and he's looking forward to trying out for the club ball team, and hopeful that he can make it, because he really wants to love it again. I see him out on the street shooting again, and it's just because then I get to go watch him.
Yeah.
And that's all I want. It's about me. Who has two thumbs?
Wants him to play, so you can go to games.
Oh, I love it. I can't tell you.
Great.
I just love it so much. I really do.
I'm sorry you had such a rough high school experience. That is,
me too.
Really,
and
tough.
I would also say, we went the route. We didn't want to put up any roadblocks that would create a poor experience for the spring season in track. But I will say that we were able to talk to the athletic director and said our piece, and it was good. You just have to kind of like pick yourself up and fight the battles you want to fight, and not walk away feeling less than or bitter. Just say it and move on.
Yeah. What was the if you just compare kind of his school experience and his AAU team experience through high school, like what was the biggest contrast you see there as far as how you experience that?
I think that there is in the travel. I mean, I wouldn't even guess which one was his favorite. There was one season in particular with Cap City that all of the kids just really enjoyed each other, and they were good together. They just they were selfless with the ball. I think, as you said earlier, BJ, that when you are in a school, regardless of what school, there's always a social kind of hierarchy, and parents who have had multiple kids go through the school might come, and it's just kind of a given that things will go a certain way. And if you are the first kid on the team from a family, you might feel like there's already kind of a clique there that you're not a part of. And I think that with the club at the level that Zander was playing, it was mostly a change of kids most every session. There would be some that were the same, but there was a lot of change with the kids. So I think that probably made it a little bit more exciting and fun, because you were always, learning somebody else's playing style. And in high school, it's, you're 14 when you start, and you're, gangly, and you're, whatever the deal is. And you're just kind of trapped in that, this, what you said, who you are. And it's hard to break out of that in those, seems like a lot of time for them, but for us, 4 years goes by pretty quickly.
Sure.
So I think the change was probably a lot of fun, just getting to know different kids, different coaches. In high school, I think there was a lot of, it was already predetermined which way it was going to go.
Right. Yeah, I hear that more and more frequently. I think, even down to like 6th grade basketball, it's the parent who's coaching, or the parent that's, organizing the team. Like, they have the politics structure in place, like they know who's going to play based on that, versus, what we'd hope to see is like the meritocracy approach. Like, this freshman is a better player than all the seniors, therefore this freshman's going to start.
Right.
Necessarily because the seniors are older and have, political sway on the team. Thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think the school system is really bogged down with that kind of stuff. And
yeah.
So,
I think you're right.
Tell me what you think of the idea. I like the phrase, the separation of school and sports.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're the politics of school and, the power they have over the child's experience of a fun sport because of their academics or anything else, like all that kind of comes bearing down and just makes the sport no fun. I'd rather see them like go to school completely separately and then go find the best club team that fits them and, go have fun with their sport that they like.
Well, and I think you would know better than me, but back in the day, the high school basketball games were the place to go. I mean, everybody, that was huge, and they had dynasties. Like Central had their dynasty, Trinity had their day. I mean, everybody had their stuff. And now many kids aren't even finishing their high school years. They're going to Tilton or to Bridgeton or wherever they're going. And then on top of that, there are so many different teams that they're playing for. It's watered down the high school team experience. And so nobody's doing 100%. Nobody's getting 100% experience out of any of it.
Yeah.
I think what's happened with all the sports is kind of interesting. It's not in a good way. It's tough. I mean, maybe the days of high school basketball, really, I have such great memories. Everybody would be there, even at, going to the UNH games, and they're a great team. They can't fill the gymnasium. Like, oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You'd think Division I basketball would draw a crowd.
Right.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think there's a lot of dynamics there, but I always look at it like I just said, I guess the control side of the school, and I guess in a lot of ways the old school style coaching philosophy that goes with that is just like squeezing until players are squeezing through their fingers kind of thing. Like, they're trying to control players. You have to come to every practice. You have to do everything we say, or you sit, or your grades are not right. You skip a game. Like, there's so many control factors that players are just like, I'd rather go play somewhere else that's actually fun. And it's a shame that it lost all that atmosphere and real excitement around having a core basketball program at the high school. But I think it's a adapt or die kind of thing, where they're not adapting to kind of the modern culture and what players expect for the time they're going to put in. They really want to have some fun out of it, some enjoyment.
Right. And what's the true oversight? I had looked up, the coach's handbook and what is expected and what they're signed off to do. And I really do wonder, I mean, not just in my circumstance, but across the board, really, are they taking that seriously? Is administration looking at coaches regardless of what sport, and making them understand that, we're watching you, and the kids are important to us, and you're important to us. We want to make sure that you feel like you're getting the tools you need and that they're getting what they need. And I just don't know how, a teacher who is also a varsity coach can have the time in the day to do their students in their classroom well. And then you've got these boys that are, all over the place in their heads, and they're growing like weeds, and they don't know what to do with themselves. There's a lot to just do that,
Sure.
So.
No, I think that's very true. I think coaches do get stretched thin with a lot of things. And then, that leads to the control in some ways. If you've ever been like, I've done a couple camps this summer, even where you got, 12 kindergartners that are bouncing off the wall. Like, you're going to have a certain commanding voice and a certain level of intolerance for any crazy behavior at a certain point, and all that's going on. I think coaches get stretched, like you said, and they're teaching and coaching, and chaos, stress of winning, and coaches get changed over so often now too. It's like there's a lot of
or they don't.
And we're like, right. Somehow it's both at the same time, right?
And they should.
Either you never leave, or you get fired after one season if you don't win your game.
Right.
A lot of stress and pressure on coaches to perform, and that leads to a lot of shortcuts to like, all right, I know this player, I can rely on him. I don't know this kid, so like we're just gonna go with this group, and this whatever social cliquey group that plays well together. Like, let's keep them going, even if this other kid gets sidelined, whatever, trying to win a game, kind of thing. So there's a whole lot of social and political dynamics behind all that. But, sounds like Zander is one of the few in the proud, stubborn enough to stick it out, even though it wasn't going.
He did.
Good for him. I hope that experience will serve him well going forward in life.
I hope so. If not, I don't think kids appreciate stuff like that until a bit later. And I hope that there comes a time where he is sitting in a job interview or something, and they say, "So what's the toughest thing?" And that wouldn't be a bad answer. That experience would be a bad answer.
I spent 4 years fighting in a high school program for a position, and never really got what I wanted out of it. Wow. Wow, this has been a great conversation. I appreciate you.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it, and I wish you well. I really do.
Well, thank you. Anything else you'd like to leave us with?
I think I gave you a lot, probably too much.
No, this is great. This will be one parents can listen back to a couple times. A lot of good nuggets. We bounced around a little bit, but we got a lot of good thoughts out here. So this is great.
Good. I'm glad.
All right. Thank you very much for your time again.
Thanks, BJ. It was good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right.
Bye-bye. Zander for us.
I will. Thanks.
All right. Bye.